Study Section 9, Methods and Technique for Trade Union Education. Introduction. In this study session, we will be discussing the methods and techniques for trade union education. To start with, you will explain the methodologies and approaches of trade union education with particular focus on Africa. Moving on, you will examine the modular system of union education. Likewise, you will explore the traditional and classic approaches to teaching. You will end the session by highlighting the advantages and constraints of these three methods of teaching in trade union education. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to discuss the methodologies and approaches of trade union education in Nigeria. Explain the three methods for teaching in trade union education. Methodologies and approaches of trade union education in Africa. Methodologies: a system of methods used in a particular area of study or activity. In the last session, you discussed administration and provision of trade union education in Nigeria and Africa as a whole. Now, we will move on to the methodologies and approaches of trade union education in Africa. Trade union education is always focused on identified target groups within the organization and can assist in the resolution of identified problems. Thus, methodological planning approaches are important in meeting the targeted relevance of the courses desired. However, the methods, techniques, and materials are means and not ends. The end is the type and the quality of learning. A variety of participatory or active methods are applied, as well as passive techniques, including the lecture, the discussion, the forum, the large group discussion, the bull session or small group discussion, case studies, role-playing, study circle, and others. In effect, all these methods are considered relevant depending on the choice, objectives, and target groups. In terms of other appropriate methodologies and approaches needed to make trade union education more responsive and dynamic in the context of the new challenges facing the trade union movement, it is necessary for workers' education to adapt to the new opportunities and potential associated with information and computer-based technology such as the use of electronic media, the internet, and CD-ROM. In addition, trade union education must be called upon to take up the challenges posed by the changing political platform by introducing new political dimensions such as the impact of national and international geopolitics on trade union work. It is also critical to call for the adaptation of current methodologies and approaches to take account of other innovative techniques of education and learning such as drama, traditional songs, and use of radio and print media. It is equally important to use research as a learning tool to enhance awareness of current and future trends affecting workers. Trade union education has always taken many forms and has constantly had to adapt to new situations, but its basic principles have remained strictly adhered to. Specialized training has sought to meet the specific needs of trade unions and to be relevant to the types of people it is aimed at. Importantly, trade union education has also been instrumental in contributing to the development and strengthening of international trade union solidarity. Methods and strategies for trade union education. There are many methods and strategies that are used in the trade union education. We will take the time to discuss some of them. Modular system of training. The ILO standard on methods and strategies for trade union education programs is called the modular system of training. This modular system is based on the following assumptions. 1. The identification of the training needs of workers is established. 2. The various target audience for the training noted or recognized. 3. The knowledge of the training methodology for different situations. 4. The project is well planned. 5. The prospect for the training has been taken into consideration. Under this ILO modular system, support material for the course and kits of teaching manuals are produced. These are simply written and easily accessible with exercises to text learning and its application to the particular situation of the different organizations. The exercises are done individually or in groups and the results analyzed and corrected in class with the support of the participants. Both at the beginning and at the end of the module on training methodology, the participants are expected to produce video films of themselves depending on the level of development of the country, the available resources, and the willingness of the employers of labor to fund such costs. The video films of the participants will also assist the individual participants to know the extent of their roles in the program. This is a form of self-evaluation. The self-evaluation gives the participant chance to assess mastery of the basic subject which are taught in the course and which are supposed to be properly oriented with those skills they should improve. The self-evaluation film also helps to show the participants how to improve those skills through the preparation and conduct of a class on a chosen topic using different methods and didactic support. Practical application of the knowledge to trade union education project of the ILO's modular method and strategy also assume that at the end of the course, about 60% of the participants have attained the level required to satisfactorily carry out their roles as instruction in their respective organizations and for training or educating the other members of the union. However, in order to be sure that the level of mastery is maintained and protected, the organization must integrate them into an ongoing educational activity. As a result, the ILO modular approach will offer each participant a chance to apply the learning obtained through the formation and implementation of a production project of a demonstrative character. Merits of the modular approach. 1. It affords participants the chance to develop themselves. 2. It enables the participants to develop skills in the scheduling and monitoring of diverse tasks, organizational, technical, and productive, educational, and evaluative. 3. It affords a chance to share the experiences acquired with other groups and leaders who can use them as strategies to strengthen workers' participation in trade union education. 4. It will enable the participants to contribute significantly to the improvement of their living and working conditions. After discussing the modular system of training, teaching, we can then move to the traditional methods and strategies. Traditional methods and strategies of teaching. This traditional approach assumes that the participants of trade union education are adults. The characteristics of the adult should therefore be the first to be considered. Those characteristics include 1. Understanding and taking into account the motivational and participation patterns of the participants. 2. Understanding and providing for the needs of the participants in learning. 3. Having the experience in trade union education and theory. 4. Knowing the organization and its needs. 5. Knowing how to use the various methods and techniques of instruction. 6. Possessing communication skills, including listening. 7. Knowing where to locate and how to use the trade union education materials. 8. Having an open mind and providing an atmosphere that allows the participant to pursue their needs and interests. 9. Continuing his own education. 10. Being able to appraise and evaluate the programs. Based on the above 10 characteristics of the trade union education participant, the following methods, techniques can be applied depending on the situation and the type of organizational goals. Before we examine the methods, techniques, let us make a distinction between similar but different terminologies in this session. The following techniques are applicable to the traditional approach to trade union educational programs. 1. Discussion method, technique. 2. Lecture method, technique. 3. Individual learning techniques. 4. Small group learning techniques. 5. The Socratic technique. 6. The contact with real problems technique. 7. Simulation technique. 8. Role-playing technique. 9. The drama technique. 10. The games technique. 11. Large group learning technique. 12. Seminars and workshops. 13. Panel discussion, symposium, and debate. 14. Colloquy. Any of the 14 identified methods or techniques can be used, or a combination of some of them depending on the subject matter. Classic approach on methods and techniques. There are new dimensions, suggestions, experimentations due to research on the types of methods and techniques to use for trade union educational programs. Jim-Francais Kobe, 1989, observes that there are limits in both the ILO and the traditional methods and techniques. He therefore proposed what he called the classic approach. This approach has the following merits. 1. It is restricted to a single course. 2. It consists of a lecture, a variety of reading materials, and a discussion. 3. The lecturers are usually multipurpose, suitable for all audiences. 4. It is both theoretical and general. 5. It allows the trainees the opportunity to express themselves and to compare notes about their situations and experiences. Constraint of the classic approach. Like all teaching methods, the classic approach could be affected by the following constraints. 1. Material constraints. 2. Organization constraints, viz. 1. Preparation, and 2. The organizational goals. Study session summary. In this study session, you discuss the methodologies and approaches for trade union education, with particular reference to Africa. You explain the different methods and strategies of trade union education, under which you explored the modular, traditional, and classic methods for trade union education. This is the end of study section 9. Thanks for listening.